3 barangays rose to beyond 10 at 12, 14, and 17 respectively. Many residents of Barangay 351 started the day early by going to the market to buy supplies for the next 4 days. But other than food, some residents are worrying about their work or small businesses. A courier service said that the lockdown can hurt their business because they will not be able to deliver the goods they have at hand. So instead, they decided that later today, they will return the goods to the warehouse and have another courier handle the deliveries. A canteen employee, on the other hand, also worries about the 4-day loss of income. She said that her daughters decided to sleep over at friends' houses for the next days just so they can go to work and not be locked inside their homes. Residents now know that the lockdown was for their own good. However, they admitted that this can be a big hassle for them. The barangay assured, though, that the Manila LGU will be delivering food supplies directly at their doorsteps. Local officials said food support will last for the entire duration of the lockdown. The Santa Cruz Police Station is also preparing for the start of lockdowns. The station commander of Santa Cruz, Police Lieutenant Colonel John Giagi, said that he will be deploying 64 policemen around the barangay, excluding the roving policemen. There will only be one entry point here in Barangay 351, specifically along Elias Street, and 2 exit points, one in Dimasalang and one in Vision Street. He said that the police will be apprehending lockdown violators who will be charged with violating the city ordinance. They will be temporarily detained at the basketball court of Barangay 351. Charles, while Barangay 351 is a residential area, 725 is, on the other hand, a primarily commercial area. Barangay employees said that active COVID cases are those from seafarers that lodge at their barangay, while in Barangay 699 at the 2 hotels where there are 17 COVID cases listed, all those are OFWs that are doing their quarantine time at the hotels. The MPD is also asking for the public's cooperation over the next couple of days. Charles?
Thank you. That was Justine Punsalang reporting live from Manila. We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The PSA reports that there are 1.6 million new Filipinos who were unemployed back in January. This brings the country's unemployment rate to its highest in over 15 years. Shaila Francisco with the story.
Jimson Balingao lost his job as a DJ technician at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. 1 year later, he's still looking for a job.
Kasi nasa entertainment ako eh. Para bang mga kahit mga mobile system or video wala eh. Wala talaga, walang entertainment eh. Baka ka makakuha zero.
Jimson is just one of the 4 million unemployed Filipinos as of January 2021, based on preliminary data by the Philippine Statistics Authority. With businesses and work affected by the pandemic, unemployment rate in January remains unchanged from October at 8.7%. But compared to a year ago, there are now an additional 1.6 million unemployed Filipinos. This is the third highest unemployment rate since April 2005. Underemployed Filipinos also increased to 6.6 million. Rise in unemployment was highest in Calabarzon at 13.1%. The sectors of entertainment, electricity, and accommodation had the largest employment drop year-on-year. On the flip side, some 1.6 million people were added in the labor force, and 1.4 million workers regained employment since October. In an interview with Business World Live, AAA Equities President Matt Cabangon said that economic recovery will be no walk in the park.
Inflation's coming up, so oil prices, food prices, unemployment's not getting much better. So yeah, we are sort of waking up to the reality that the perfect recovery people were expecting isn't quite working out.
The PSA also said that granular lockdowns can still affect employment in the coming months. Economic managers, meanwhile, advise the implementation of localized quarantines only in high-risk areas, allowing expanded capacities in various businesses, and widening of age groups allowed to go out may also be done in low-risk areas. The Labor Department remains hopeful of better employment numbers within the year as the BPO and construction sectors resume expansion plans. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
The Labor Department said some 1.4 million of the 1.6 million newly unemployed Filipinos have returned to the labor market. On 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Labor Undersecretary Dominique Tutay said only 200,000 of the reported newly unemployed Filipinos for the first month were not able to secure new jobs. She adds that this is a sign that the country's economy is slowly recovering. Tutay also noted that the BPO sector remains to be the most resilient during the pandemic.
Yan ho ay magandang senyales na po na kapag bumabalik na po sa labor market ang ating mga trabahante, ibig sabihin po ay confident sila na tuloy-tuloy na po itong safe reopening of our economy. And we should support that with the discipline that we need to instill in ourselves.
On One News' The Chiefs, the PSA said more than 1 million Filipinos were able to secure their first jobs this January. More Filipinos have also resorted to self-employment compared to pre-pandemic levels. PSA Assistant National Statistician Wilma Guillen said self-employment rates rose by 5.9% in January of this year compared to the same period of last year. The number of self-employed Filipinos also grew by 20% since the ECQ. But Guillen says some of these self-employed individuals could be considered underemployed.
So maybe because of their need, they felt the need of having income during the lockdowns. So through the months, they were able to set themselves and have their own jobs or businesses.
With millions of Filipinos losing their day jobs due to the pandemic, there's now renewed interest in freelancing. So what exactly does a typical day look like for Filipino freelancers? Gretchen Ho tells us in this story.
From being a full-time events manager, Darla now wears many hats. She's a social media manager, a brand strategist, and coach. Darla has entered the world of freelancing.
Yung mom ko naman, she's very supportive kasi she don't want me to go to work nung pandemic. That's when I freelancing.
The freelancing babe enjoys the time and financial freedom.
Going into big companies is the society's meaning of success. What I do there can actually be done through freelancing.
But having graduated magna cum laude from the University of the Philippines in Los Baños, she got criticized for the move. But she shared her sentiments on a now viral social media post. Unlike Darla, AJ Di Marucot never faced discrimination in his 12 years of freelancing.
In fact, somebody in the ad agency told me, who was much older than I was, sabi niya, alam mo AJ, buti ka pa, nakaalis ka na. Parang sabi niya, I think it's too late for me to leave the corporate world.
Di Marucot has worked with big personalities like boxing champ Manny Pacquiao, NBA player Vince Carter, and international brands like Nike and Jordan, all without a college degree.
I just had experimented with Photoshop back in the 1990s. I discovered it and realized that this is what I wanted to do.
Freelancing allows him to spend more time with his family, but the career choice does not come without its share of challenges.
So because of the pandemic, I had lost like a major client of mine that I've had for the last 9 years. Since our industry that we were working in was directly affected by the pandemic. Freelancer is essentially a business person. You have to first find the clients.
Both AJ and Darla agree, though, that the benefits far outweigh the risks.
Working like a few hours a day instead of like 14 hours a day in an ad agency was much more feasible in terms of increasing, my income.
We always go back to the question like, what will people say about me? And not really going dun sa question na, what will I do to make myself happy? In freelancing, the possibilities are limitless.
Gretchen Ho, we are One News.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.